Now let's start with renal failure. So in renal failure, renal implies kidney. What does it mean? Renal word is concerned with kidney. And if I say renal failure, that means that a disorder which is associated with kidney, where the kidney actually fails to perform its function. And we all know that the prime function of the kidney is to purify the blood. How? By removing the toxic substances. And if in case the kidney fails to do so, so it enters into a stage of failure, that is the reason we call it as renal failure. So if somebody asks you about renal failure, you are going to define like this: it is a condition when the kidney fails to function. Now the question is, under what circumstances the renal failure occurs? So the circumstances can be, the first, when the kidney doesn't get the enough blood to purify. This could be one of the reasons. And the second reason, it can be you can say an accidental injury or any damage which is caused to kidney, like due to certain disease, like we have diabetes, we have high blood pressure. So these are the few disorders which have harmful impact on the kidney. So under these conditions, the renal failure might occur in a person. So if a person is suffering from renal failure and he goes to doctor and asks for the advice, then either the doctor suggests for transplantation or put the person on the artificial kidney, which is called as dialysis. So the only two options are left. One is the transplantation, other the artificial kidney, that is the dialysis. So here we are going to discuss about the transplantation. So if I say transplantation, the word itself suggests that is a process, or you can say a procedure, in which the kidney from the healthier person is transferred to the patient. And in that case, the patient can survive, or you can say the patient will enter into a better phase after taking that kidney. Now, who is going to be that donor? Who is going to donate that kidney? Sometimes what happens, there are certain persons or people who agreed to donate their kidney if they die. And those donors are called as deceased donors. And sometimes some people, they are willing to donate their kidneys, they are living, but still they donate their kidneys, and they are called as living donors. So donors can be deceased donors or the living donors. And mostly the living donors are the family members. Most often they are the family members. So now I'm going to discuss about the artificial kidney. So the artificial kidney means dialysis. That is, here in this process, the machine is going to act as a kidney, or you can say machine is going to function like the kidney does. So this is how the dialyzing machine looks like, and the procedure is definitely called as dialysis. Now, as you can see this complete machine, and inside to it, it looks like this. So what you can see in this figure? You can see that there is a chamber, right? This chamber is called as dialyzing chamber. And also you can see that there are certain tubes present. These tubes are made up of cellulose. I repeat, these tubes are made up of cellulose. Outside to these cellulose tubes, you can see that there is a solution present. That solution is dialyzing solution. And it actually possesses those components which are essential, or you can say which should be present in the blood. This dialyzing solution consists of the components which are useful for our body, or you can say that the components which should be there in the blood in order to make it oxygenated, or you can say in order to make it purified. So these are the things which are present in the dialyzing solution. Now how the procedure occurs? So in this case, you can see that I have a picture for you in which you can see that patient is put on dialysis. That is, a patient is relaxing on the bed. You can see that there are certain pipes which are carrying blood to the machine. So what happens that in case of dialysis, the pricks are made in the patient body. It can be on arm, it can be on leg, it can be on thigh, or it can be on wrist, right? So you can see that the blood is taken out. this blood is taken out from renal artery, right? Then this blood is made to flow through these cellulose tubes. Now, when the blood flows through these cellulose tubes, the diffusion process takes place. Now, what substances diffuse? We know that the blood which is coming is impure. It carries certain toxin substances. And outside to it is the dialyzing solution, which contains the pure components, which possess the useful components. Now, the diffusion will occur. That is, the useful substances, or you can say the substances which should be there in the blood, they diffuse from the dialyzing solution into the blood. And the toxic materials being high in the blood, they diffuse from their higher concentration to lower concentration. That is, from the blood which is in the cellulose tubes to the dialyzing solution. So in that way, when the blood keeps on flowing through these cellulose tubes, the diffusion process keeps on occurring. And as a result, the blood gets purified and it is put back into the renal vein of the patient. This is how the dialysis is carried out. So I think you got it. It's not that easy that every time a patient goes for the dialysis, it's very painful also. And this dialysis just prolongs the life, right? It cannot act as a natural kidney, though it has the same function or it is trying to perform a same function, but still we cannot compare its activity with the natural kidney. The things which occur naturally, they have their own importance, right? But still the patient who are suffering from disorder, they are put on this machine, that is on the dialysis, which is also called as artificial kidney. So this is all about the renal failure. Now, as we know that there are two prime functions of kidneys. That is, first we have already discussed, that is the urine formation. We already did that. The second is the osmoregulation. So now we are going to discuss that what exactly is osmoregulation. We know that inside our body, we have water, we have ions, we have minerals, we have lot of things, right? So when we are talking about maintaining the balance between the water and the ions inside the body, that process is called as osmoregulation. So how we can define that? Osmoregulation is a process in which water and ionic balance is maintained in the body. As you know that excess of everything is bad, right? Or you can say that whenever anything is present in large quantity, it harms us in one or the other way. So we have to get rid of that. That is the reason water and ionic balance maintenance is very important. Now, how it is maintained? See, we know that inside our body we have blood, right? In blood, we have the specialized cells which are sensitive to alteration in water content. Do you get that? What do you mean by alteration? That is the rise in the water or the ionic level, or you can say when they are on the lower side. So that means increase or decrease in the water and ionic balance, that is picked up by the osmoreceptors. That is the reason we call them, they are the specialized cells that are sensitive to any alteration in the water and ionic content. So whenever the concentration of water and the ions increase or decrease, they get active, right? So here we are going to write that because I am going to make a flow chart for you in order to simplify it. So we have osmoreceptors, as I already told you that they are sensitive to alteration in water content. So whenever there will be increase or decrease in the water or the ionic content, or you can say the balance is disturbed, they get activated. Now, when they will get activated, they will generate an electric impulse, right? And that electric impulse is taken by sensory nerve. And to where it is taken? It is taken to brain. It is taken to brain, right? Brain analyzes and then it sends the message to pituitary gland. We all know that pituitary gland is a master gland of our body. It secretes a lot of hormones. So out of all those secretions, the one hormone it secretes is ADH. that is antidiuretic hormone, or we can also call it as vasopressin, right? So this ADH, it diffuses into blood, and through blood it reaches the kidney, enters the kidney and shows its function on the loop of Henle of the nephron. We know that the concentration of urine is controlled by the Henle's loop, or you can call it as loop of Henle. So it will diffuse into blood, right? And through blood it is carried to different parts, but it will show its function on its target organ. And in this case, its target organ is going to be the loop of Henle of nephron, which is present in the kidney. Now, the condition can be when the water content is high, or a condition can be when the water content is low, right? It can rise above the normal level, or it can be below than the normal level, right? So under both the cases, it is going to follow the same pathway, but its function is going to differ. Let's see how. See, if the water content is high in your body, right, that means they will detect this alteration, then they will send the message to brain. Brain will transfer this message to pituitary gland. Again, the pituitary gland has assigned this duty to ADH, that is an hormone. So in response, it will secrete ADH. ADH will diffuse into blood, and through blood it is carried to kidney, where it will act on the loop of Henle of nephron, right? Now, how it is going to act, right? Or you can say what effect it will show on the loop of Henle. Now, if the concentration of water is high, that means we have to get rid of the extra water. So it will make the loop of Henle more permeable to water. So in that case, more and more water is absorbed. So if more and more water is absorbed, that means in that case, the urine formed will be diluted, right? So they are making the loop of Henle more permeable to water, so that we can get rid of excess water. Now, if in case the water level decreases, then what happens? Again, they follow the same pathway. ADH diffuses into blood, reaches the loop of Henle, right? Diffuse into blood, reaches the kidney, act on the loop of Henle. Now, in this case, it will make the loop of Henle less permeable to water, because already the water content is lower in our body. So what it is going to do, it is going to make the loop of Henle less permeable to water. It will make the loop of Henle less permeable to water. So in that case, more and more water is conserved by the body, right? And in that case, the urine is going to be concentrated. That is, it will carry the lesser amount of water. So this is what is osmoregulation, as the name suggests, water and ionic balance, and this is how the balance is maintained in our body, and this balance maintenance is mandatory. We require that for proper functioning of the body. So this is all about osmoregulation. Now let's study about excretion in plants. As you all know that like in us, the toxic substances are present, in the same way they are present in the plants also, because various phenomena or processes are occurring in the plants as well. So some waste products are formed as a byproducts also. Like when the plant photosynthesizes, the waste product which is formed is the oxygen gas. Similarly, when the plant respire, the waste product formed is carbon dioxide. Likewise, there is excess water also present in the plants. There are the waste products which are stored in the form of resins, gums. So again, I repeat that lot of waste products are there in case of plants also. And I already told you that all the harmful substances or the extra substances or the waste substances, they have to be removed. They have to be removed. And this is what is excretion we are talking about. So in case of plants also, excretion is very important. And what they are excreting, I think it's clear. Either they are excreting the oxygen, or they are excreting the carbon dioxide, or they are excreting the excess water, right? So they do have the excretory products. Now, how they are excreting those things? For example, if I talk about excess water, how plants remove excess water? They excrete, or you can say they remove the excess water by the process called transpiration. We all know that, like we come across the plants where we get to see a few tiny droplets of water present on the leaves. From where those droplets arise? They arise due to transpiration, because every time the plants are transpiring, that means they are losing the water in the form of vapors through the stomata. And stomata, you already know that it is a you can say a structure where we have the guard cells which enclose a pore, and the opening and the closing of pore actually guards the transpiration process, also the exchange of gases. So the excess water is removed by the process called transpiration. Now, if I talk about again the oxygen and the carbon dioxide, they are also removed by the stomatal pore. We have already discussed about stomata now. And there are certain substances which are stored as resins or gums in old xylem. So these all are the waste products. You know that there are certain spine-like structures like this, they look like this, we get to see on certain fruits or vegetables. Like this is yam, you can see that there are spine-like structures present. Now what is the function of these spines? The function is they are storing the excretory substances. They are storing the excretory products, or you can say the substances in them. So when we peel them, those excretory products or the substances, they are removed. So they are termed as raffids. What we call them as? We call them as raffids. So if somebody asks you about raffids, you are going to answer like this, that raffids are the spine-like structures which store the excretory products, and they are visible in certain, or you can say they are present in certain fruits and vegetables. Now let's do some knowledge boosters. So it's time to recall the things which we have learned in this video. So the first question is, name the excretory part of the amoeba. Right, so in this question I'm asking you that how the amoeba excrete, right, or you can say which part of amoeba act as a excretory part. So the answer is contractile vacuole. Amoeba excretes by contractile vacuole. So I think it's clear. So the second question I have for you is that how the platyhelminthes and annelida excretes. What are the excretory organs of platyhelminthes and annelids? So platyhelminthes, they excrete by a special cells called as flame cells. They excrete by flame cells, right? And if I talk about the annelida, they excrete by a special part that is called as nephridia. They excrete by nephridia. The next question we have is how earthworm excrete? And we have the four options. The first option is contractile vacuole. The second option is nephridia. The third we have flame cells. And the fourth we have none of these. Right. We know that earthworm falls in the category of annelida. Right. So how annelida excrete? We know that annelida excrete through nephridia. So here the correct option is B. That is the second part, that is nephridia, because earthworm excretory part is the nephridia, right? So I think it's clear. So let's move on to the next question now. So the next question is, we have a figure, and in this figure it is being asked, and in this you can see the spine-like structures, and it is being asked that what is the special name given to these spine-like structures. We have already done that these spine-like structures are present in certain fruits and vegetables, right? And they are called as raffids. They are called as raffids. And what is the function of raffids here? They actually help in storing the excretory products in the plants. So I think you got it. So the next question we have is, man is A. ureotelic, B. uricotelic, C. a monotelic, D. ureo and uricotelic. So the correct option is A, because we all know that the prime nitrogenous waste which is present in man or in human beings is the urea. So man is ureotelic. So here the correct option is A, that is ureotelic. The next question we have is, during dialysis, the blood is taken out through which vessel? So I repeat, during dialysis, the blood is taken out through which vessel? And the options are renal vein, renal artery, renal capillary, and D, we have portal vein. So in this case, the correct option is the A part, renal artery, because we have already done that during dialysis, the blood is taken through renal artery and it is made to flow through the cellulose tubes which are present in the dialyzing solution, right? So that means the correct answer is A, that is renal artery. So now the question is, you can see that we have a picture and we have to label the parts, right? So we can identify that the system is the excretory system of human being. Excretory system of human being. And how you're going to label the parts? We know that these two structures, they are kidneys. These tubules which are running down, they are ureters. The sac which you can see is the urinary bladder, and the opening of the urinary bladder is called as urethra, right? So this is how you are going to label these. This is all about the labeling of this excretory tract of human being. The next question is, we have been asked to draw a well-labeled diagram for kidney, right? How we are going to draw it? First, we'll make a structure, as you can see, and you know that it is a bean-shaped structure, right? Now, we are going to demarcate the area that is outer and the inner. It is not a complete demarcation, a rough demarcation, that is the cortex, and on the inner side we have medulla, right? We have these structures, that is the renal pyramids, we have ducts of Bellini, right? We'll just make one nephron also in order to show that these cells which are present in kidney are called as nephrons. So we'll show its structure also. So this is here, we have one nephron. Then we have the hilum, from a point from where the ureter arises, and this is the ureter. So this is how you're going to draw a diagram of kidney. Now we have a question, label the parts of nephron. Label the parts of nephron. So here is the figure given. We know that this figure belongs to nephron. Now let's label it. So these structures which are present in this cup-shaped structure, these are called as glomerulus, that is the blood capillaries. The cup-shaped structure, we know that is a Bowman's capsule, and together they are called as Malpighian body. Now the duct which is going down, we know that it is PCT, proximal convoluted tubule, and the tubule which is rising up, it is called as DCT, distal convoluted tubule, and this tubule is the collecting tubule. And the two areas, as it is shown that it is roughly divided, so it is divided to show that the upper region lies in the cortex of the kidney and the lower portion lies in the medulla of kidney. And the tubule, or you can say a vessel, and the vessel which surrounds the whole nephron is the capillary, right? So this is how you're going to label the nephron. Now the last question is, name the excretory organ present in grasshopper. We know that the excretory organ which is present in grasshopper is the Malpighian tubule. So grasshoppers excretes through Malpighian tubule. So with this, we finish our chapter, that is the fourth part of life process, which is excretion. I think you got it. So for better understanding and learning of concepts, please visit our practice test. Thanks for watching this video.